Hi students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? If you can hear my voice properly, students, can I quickly get a confirmation? Thank you. Now students, today also the pass rates really was good, students, a decent pass rate as usual in CIMA. So the feedback what I'm always getting is at the end of the day, what matters is how much your mind is present to the exam situation. Now, students, before I start going through the mock number one on explaining, I just want to guide you with the basic steps. So I'll write down here, students, writing skills and answer planning. Writing skills and answer planning. Now, CIMA examiner is very much strict with one thing, no bullet points. So it's a taboo. So no bullet points. So this you have to make sure whatever happens, never write what students bullet points. And the format what he prefers is, if I'm not mistaken, is paragraph form. What is that, students? Paragraph form. And also interconnected paragraphs. Interconnected paragraphs like a movie screenplay. So can I write down here, students? Movie, what, students? Screenplay. Now, students, if you observe, if you are watching a movie, if they want you to keep you in your seat, the screenplay needs to be very perfect in order for you to watch that movie. So no bullet points, paragraph should be in interconnected format. And one paragraph, students, you have to follow this structure, should have 3 sentences. How many sentences? 3 sentences. What? Then you have why, and then students you have how. Okay, this is what we have to say in simple language. We can say state what you think, what is your point, and apply that to the current situation, and then conclude with the next sentence that is going to connect. So you will get this ideology step by step when we write this. That is one more thing. Now students, if I'm not mistaken, the next thing is marking guide. So I'll just want to guide you with marking guide. So students, this is going to be marking guide. So marking guide, students, while you're doing, you have to understand where you are scoring. You need to know the rules properly. What is the marks you are scoring? So one thing, students, level 1. Then students, if I'm not mistaken, there is something called level 2. And then we have something called level 3. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box here? Level 1, level 2, level 3. Can I get a quick confirmation from you all in the chat box? Excellent. Thank you. Now, if you see level 1, they will give you only 1/3 of the marks. Level 2, they'll give you 2/3 of the marks. And level 3, they'll give you 3/3. If you only write what, you will end up in level 1. If you write what plus why, you will end up in level 2. If you explain what plus why plus how, you will end up in level 3. I think this is the most easiest way I can simplify how your marks is scored in the exam. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are able to understand that properly? Now, students, if you see, this is a 25 marks question. Now, the first one is 40%. So 40% of 25 marks effectively will be 10 marks. Now, 1/3 means I can say it's 3 marks. Here, let's assume 2/3 means 3 plus another 3, 6 marks. And this is full. That means 3 plus 3, and let's assume plus 4. Effectively, they're giving 1 extra marks for your writing skills. So students, this is how it effectively works. I believe everyone is very clear here. There is nothing to worry on how the writing skills works out, because that is what is important and essential for the entire students to understand. Can I get a double Y once again, students? Because this is very important. And I just want to talk to Sridevi through the mic. Sridevi, are you clear with the writing style, Sridevi? What, why, and how? Because if this is gone, you will find it very difficult to score marks in the future. Are you clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So students, the success here is, this is basically based on the fundamentals. That is the main thing, and the listening skills. Now I can effectively guide you on the question. So here 25 marks. another one is 60%. So in that case, students, if I'm not mistaken, you'll be getting around 15 marks. Now students, there is a standard, but there are deviations. Standard is there, but it can deviate. It cannot be 100% perfect. It can deviate. Now, standards mean, students, you see 40% for each 10%. Now, 40% means you divide it by 10%, so it will be 4 paragraphs. Okay, 4 paragraphs you have to structure. And here, technically speaking, it should be 6 paragraphs, because if you see 60%, you divide it by 10%, it's effectively how many paragraphs, students? 6 paragraphs, right? If I'm not mistaken. Now, in the exam, let's assume you're running out of time. You can end up this with 3 paragraphs, not an issue, not an issue. But no need to write 7 paragraphs for a 4 paragraphs answer. Here, no need to write 10 paragraphs. Here, you can end up with 5 paragraphs. Are you clear with this, students, if I'm not mistaken? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you're fine with that? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Excellent. Excellent, everyone. Now I am coming to the question so that we will work on this step by step. So firstly, when you go to the exam, you always needs to understand the requirement first. Evaluate whether this proposal is suitable to the business model. Evaluate whether this process is suitable to the business model. Now, this is an exam question every time coming. And the biggest mistake students write is they write their own answer for the business model. Now, the luck in this is they have already given us this one. Now, this is only the business model. It's like you have to check whether this proposal, is it okay with our current defining of value? Is it okay with our current creating of value? Is it okay with our current delivering of value? Is it okay with our current capturing of value? Unfortunately, students don't write this. They write the car dealer business industry. You understand what I'm saying, students? They write this industry data instead of writing the business model flowchart they have given. So, students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box if you understand this? Because if you ever get a business model question, you have to analyze the business model based on this. So many past paper answers are there. So many past paper questions are there. Every time the one question, every time the student also get the very, very minimal marks, because the student is effectively writing all the other things other than the business model. Now, students, I'll leave a line. Let's assume I'm working in my Pearson system. Discuss the key risk we may face in case if we accept this proposal. Key risk we may face in case if we accept the proposal. Key risk we may face if we accept the proposal. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are clear with this? Evaluate whether this proposal is a suitable business model. The key risk we may face in case if we accept this business model. Excellent, clear. Now your mind is getting conditioned. Your mind is getting conditioned, and it is becoming very, very clear that effectively what you have to consider is this suitable business model and key risk we may face in case if we accept this proposal. So mock number 1, Michelle Brennan, the CEO of our organization, has sent you the following mail. The biggest challenge we may face in the future is carbon emission, since there are many car producers are slowly changing to produce hybrid vehicles and electronic vehicles, specifically the electronic cars. There are many chances that the company needs to update as well rather than only providing diesel vehicles. Therefore, the management has decided that the company is moving forward with electric car dealership as well. Therefore, they have currently approached an American car producer called Tesla to support the business development and business growth. This may be also a main advantage as well to the company, since there are many chances this can be a first move advantage as well in the market of well-being. So students, we are effectively going to become a dealer of Tesla. And effectively, we are going to make sure that we bring down, again, understand the term, we bring down electric vehicles to our country. That is one thing. Now, students, one thing, students, if I'm not mistaken, just to give you an insight. Now, do you see in our Cuppcar business structure, we don't have something called, if I am not mistaken, we don't have something called, business development. Did anyone observe, do we have business development in our portfolio, students? Did you see any business development in our portfolio? I don't think, no, students. Can I get a Y in the chat box if you understood that? Because business development, no one has been assigned for that, because business development is very, very important and essential, but no one has been assigned for that, for your idea. Now, students, let's come to more and more detailed application, more and more to the detailed analysis, so that you will understand it very easier and simpler as well. Evaluate whether this proposal is suitable business model. Now, let's analyze our current situation. Don't do this in the exam, because you already need to know. Now, I am doing a redefinition of this thing once again for your understanding. Cuppcar provides the retail service required by car manufacturers that have been franchised in dealership. It also offers positive experience to customers who buy its new car and used car. Now, students, if I'm not mistaken, I think the definition of the value is fine, because they are just having again the same thing, but the only thing is the engine has become more towards electric engine. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? So there is no issues with that, because students, in case if they go for motorbike, then it will be a problem, because we are effectively in car manufacturers. Sometimes if it is motorbike or agricultural equipments like tractors, everything, then it will be a problem. Creating value. Cuppcar creates ongoing relationship with customers. Its sales executives and business managers provide expert advice. Excellent after-sales service removes much of the stress of the car ownership. Many customers return to buy their next car or come to Cuppcar because of recommendations from satisfied customers. So in this case also, there is a satisfaction rate where the customers come. So creation of value is also a factor to be considered. And delivery of value. Cuppcar assists customers at every stage in acquisition and ownership of their new and used car. Customer-facing staffs are available to advise and assist customers. Alternatively, customers can order new or used car or book or a service or a repair through the company's website. Even that is also there. And the residual value, Cuppcar sells wide range of new and good quality used car. Selling high volumes of new car maximizes the manufacturer's sales incentive and additional opportunity to earn commission and to sell in the work services. The sale of good is used to attract the margin. Now, in this case, I have only one question. This capturing residual value will be very challenging. Why? Volume business. We have to sell high volume in order to make a margin, because our margin is very less, 2%, correct, no, students, 2%, 3% margin. Now, my practical question, if I was a finance manager or if I'm the person who is helping them, I have to ask them question, can we generate profit from this? What do you think, Sridevi? Is it possible to generate profit from this business opportunity? That is the question I'm asking.
Yes, sir.
You
Moving
think yes?
forward, yes, moving forward, electric and carbon less vehicles will be used. So there are high chances to sell the upcoming new cars.
Thank you. Any other people with different viewpoints, students? Because you have to be very practical here, because that is the question I'm asking. Yeah, Douglas, please. Yes, Douglas.
I honestly, not knowing if these cars can be sold as reused, because
Wonderful.
you know, given that we earn more from used cars, not knowing
Excellent.
if these cars can be sold as reused, I don't know.
Wonderful analysis. You are correct. You are extremely correct. So that is the correct answer. Now, students, you can't just go with the question. Now, Sridevi, you have to make a note. That is a very dangerous skill. You are just going with the question proposal like MBAs. Don't do that. Because students, in this, you have to think a lot. Now, when we do MBA, we just need to follow the curriculum. In this, we have to make sure we are in the business simulation. Now, I will give you the connecting point of Douglas. Very good presence of mind. Now, you see, students, volume is very challenging to sell. Maybe long term, not now. Because students, if you see, there is no much pressure from our country because there are very few charging points, if I'm not mistaken. So this strategy will effectively be a too early strategy to bring these things to the market because it's too early to come for this market. Get that point of view very, very clearly, students. Now, that is the biggest challenge. And the second one, if I'm not mistaken, is the repairs. Do we have technicians to do the repairs? Now, Douglas, what do you think? Electric cars, can we use our same employees to handle the engine, everything? Or do we need to have skilled employees who are specialized for electric vehicles? What do you think, Douglas?
As for me, I think for now, because we don't have internally the people that are able to do the technical work on these cars. So it means maybe we may need to invest maybe in CPD because they also mentioned that there is a training program in the company. So I think in the long term, as you mentioned that.
Because, correct. So thank you for that. Now that is the thinking, students. Now, even if you see complaints increasing will be a bigger challenge because if we don't have labor and we just put into them, be a big challenge. And now if you see definition of the value, not an issue. Creation of the value, we can train our customers, employees, the executives about the model. Around 5-6 role plays will help them to improve their point of view and delivering the values and capturing the residual value. So if you observe all these things, we can effectively go more and more in detail so that everything will become more clearer and more standardized as well. So students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? If you understood that you can't directly write an answer, you have to think more like a finance manager and write an answer. Now, technically speaking, don't come to conclusion immediately. Yes, yes, yes. Not at all. Not at all. Be very, 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 very vigilant on how you think. Evaluate whether this process is suitable for the business model. Initially, I'll write down a basic introduction. The Cuppcar has been performing well for a long period of time, mainly due to location advantage and also the workshop service what they provided. The company is currently only selling diesel powered cars. Therefore, in case if there is an electric car, we can analyze the proposal as follows. Students, just make sure you write something like this. This you may not get effective marks, but many students are telling better to write like this. Can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students, if you are clear with this? Can I quickly get a Y in the chat box if you are clear with this? Excellent. Thank you very much. Now, students, let's focus more in detail. So I have two options. I can write it in heading phase because this is a connection. Defining, creating, delivering, heading manner I am going to write so that it will be very easy. So I'll write down here, the first heading is defining value. Now I'm not copy pasting. Please remember, students, this is again a big risk that the students will do. They will copy paste the same thing. Now, I told you what defining value is what you write. You will only get how many marks? 1 mark. Will you pass? No. Again, repeating, you just write this little bit applied. You will only get how many marks? 1 mark. You will fail. If you get 2, you are in the border, but you have to always go for the spot on, that is 3 by 3. Can I get a confirmation in the chat box if you understood that biggest challenge? Students write define the same thing, they copyright it. No, you can't do that. Be very, very careful. The company has established themselves as a major car manufacturer. Sorry, please excuse me. Car dealer, where they satisfy the needs of the manufacturer and the customers. By providing positive experience. Now, if you just write this, you will sometimes only get 1 mark only. But now I have to explain. Tesla Motors may be a new range considered with the 30 brands in Welland. Look at the quality. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all if you observe that 30 brands in Wellands? Can I get a Y in the chat box? That sentence, that 30 brands in Welland. Now you have to understand that sentence differentiated me from a student to finance manager. That sentence changed my view from a student to finance manager. Only a finance manager may know the market data. Students may not know the market data. They may be very much aware about the academic data. Tesla Motors may be a new range considered with 30 brands in Welland. And since it is a car, there is no major impact to the defining of value, since only change is electric engine, which can be a future anticipated demand. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you understood that point of view, students? If you understood that, that's the way you have to write. 1 sentence is over. 3 sentences. What, why, how. Then the next one, creating value. Look at the structurizing. It's very, very important. Don't copy. You can just structurize it. Now, students, the sales executives, and the locations and the workshop provides the customer what they intended in the point of infrastructure. And information. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you understood this point of view clearly, students, in the point of infrastructure. Excellent. Thank you, students, for that. Why? Now, students, if you see here, the initial challenge can be educating the executives on how the electric cars function, and also helping them with the understanding of charging and safety. Charging and what, students? charging, and what, students? Safety. I believe now everyone has got that clearly, charging and safety. Therefore, in the short term, the electric cars can be made available for sale in the showrooms of Cuppcar. Done. Done and dusted. Now the next one. Defining value. Students, if I'm not mistaken, can I just continue this? If I'm not mistaken, on delivering value, please excuse me. It's not defining value. What is the term, students? Delivering value. Shall I move forward? Of course. Cuppcar has its customers at every stage in the acquisition and ownership of their new and used car. Customer-facing staffs are available to advise and assist customers. And the customer orders can be used to book and service the repair through the website. The website has played a major role in making sure the customers have a choice for their preferred vehicle and the service they need. In this case, this can play a critical role. Now, this is the way I pass the exam. Now, if you have to think in this way, I can say, now, can I ask a question from Sridevi? Sridevi, you may be knowing there are two ways of selling. Demand push, demand pull. Correct, no, Sridevi? Now, if you see Tata cars are demand push. Everywhere you find Tata cars. But if you see Rolls-Royce, it's a demand pull. That means the manufacturing will only take place based on the demand for that product. Now, currently, our dealership is effectively a demand pull or push. What do you think, Sridevi? What strategy?
Pull.
Pull. Okay. Douglas.
Demand push. Sorry.
Okay. So students, it's actually this demand push, students. It's demand push.
Push.
That means volume. Volume is very high. That means we produce, we sell it. Produce, we sell it. Produce, we sell it. Saeed and I think Ferdas, are you getting that point of demand push? Can I get a Y in the chat box, students? Now these things, it's not there in the syllabus, but you are senior finance professionals and we need to use these terms in order to get the application. Currently, the sales are based on demand, what students? Demand push. Therefore, the website can be used for pre-order. What is the word here, students? Pre-order, where the customers can make proper decisions based on the, if I'm not mistaken, based on the demand or based on the requirement they need. Therefore, website can be a better resource. Students, I believe that you understood this point of view properly because here only you pass or fail. Can I get a Y in the chat box, students? Because this red color sentence is the thing that gives your answer very, very different from the rest of the world. You're competing with the world, you have to remember that. The next one is capturing residual value. Capturing residual value. Now let's see this. The business is based on volume sales. Since the margin is less, what, students? Less. Now, students, if I'm not mistaken, I'll write it down. Therefore, we need to make sure that we are able to provide a better service in the form of demand pull, where we can charge premium. We can charge premium and also reduce the cost because of warehousing, reduce the cost of holding the car within brackets, that is the inventory, because these cars effectively will not go sales. Secondly, another concern is whether this proposal is too early. Since there is very few charging points. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are clear with this? If you are clear with this, can I quickly get a confirmation from you? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sir,
Now,
can we add mileage as well? Because of for the charging EV, for the one charge, you can run on only for
Yeah.
170 kilometers.
Further mileage can be another factor to be considered. Now, students, let's take a quick recap of what we have written. I will do it with Sridevi. Sridevi, do you see the writing is very different from the previous exams what you have done? Correct, no, Sridevi? Do you see the writing skills is more towards the situation, and you have to have basic knowledge for thinking, but effectively what makes sense is, are you representing an answer to a management and does it make sense? And are you following the level 3 structure, what, why, how structure, in order to score the answer properly? So I believe that gives a better clarity for the students at the moment. So if I'm not mistaken, let's move forward with the risk we may face in case if we accept this project. Now, students, if you observe the risk we may face, one risk, so can we list it down? One risk is, if I'm not mistaken, second-hand market demand. Correct, no, students? Like, I think Douglas was the person who told, because second-hand market is very, very crucial in an automobile industry. The used car, I can effectively say. So we will not have a much demand for the used car because it's very new and at the early stage. And also, just to make sure your life is easier, Limo-Lux also has that issue. It's very difficult to sell a Limo-Lux car in the market. That is one thing. The second thing, if I'm not mistaken, is technical expertise. Example like spare parts. Do we have the spare parts and the specialist labors? We don't have that at the moment. And sometimes it may be costly also. Correct. And the third thing, students, another risk we may effectively face in this case is other manufacturers may have a resistance. Can that be a thing? Can the other manufacturers who produce diesel vehicles have a resistance towards our product? Is it possible or not possible, students? It is possible, right? If I'm not mistaken. And another one, very good point. Other one is warranty obligations. Because understand it very, very, very practical as well. And the other one is safety standards. We don't know whether our roads are suitable for these vehicles. Now, Tata Nano faced it. Can you all remember? It was having that extra heating and it was burning in India. I think Sridevi can recall that time. Correct, no students, that was there. So this is the key risk. And the other key risk, if I'm not mistaken, in the final point of view, effectively, it can be resulting in a loss-making business decision. Of all these things, it will end up as a loss-making business decision because we will lose our reputation with our existing customers and we will effectively lose our competence in the market as well. And Miltro may get that monopoly situation at the end. So if you are fine with the students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are fine? Now, this is how I have to design my answer. Look at the way I am formatting my answer. This is how my structurization should take place in the exam day. And once this is done, you have to design how many sentences. Can someone tell me in the chat box? For each of this heading, how many sentences you have to design, students? Quickly, how many sentences below each of this heading? 3. Wonderful. Can I now develop it? It's very easy, students. Sridevi, do you feel this complicated or manageable? The writing skills. Very
Manageable,
easy.
sir.
But the challenge is timing. Within the given time, are you able to think? That is the question. Second market demand, used car. Currently, the second market demand for used car is very crucial for dealers since they have higher margin of sales. Therefore, for Cuppcar, the biggest question arising is whether can they sell used car, comma. Also, the consumer may have the same impression. Whether the used car is disposable. Therefore, in the initial stages, only early adopters will benefit. Correct me if I'm wrong, students. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you got that point of view? This is a major challenge. Very, very simple. Technical expertise. For every car dealer in Welland, the technical expertise is essential since after sales service dominates the business. Therefore, do we have the components from OEM? Someone tell me what is OEM stands for? OEM stands for
Original equipment
equipment
manufacturer.
manufacturer. Students, you have to know this because you have to understand this. You're a manager. So do they have the components from OEM or generic? Look at the terms I'm using, generic. Therefore, the service quality may get diluted. In that case, you will have a major, the company will have in the going concern of this sector. Excellent, done. Super. Now, students, coming to the next one, other manufacturers may have resistance. Vellon has been dominated by, I have to use the technical term, students, even myself I have forgotten. There was a technical term that is called internal combustion engine. So I'll just write in dominated by internal combustion engine cars. Therefore, there can be a resistance from the 30 brand manufacturers, from 30 branded manufacturers. And it may affect the sales of the main products. And the competitors like Miltro Motors can effectively enjoy the benefits of monopoly. Since main players like Bata Motors may prefer exclusive stores. Full stop. Done. Other one is warranty obligation. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you? Let's go to the warranty obligation. Secondly, in Welland, the cars can be used for a period of 4 years. Therefore, in case there is any defects in the car due to electric supply, there are chances that the customer may claim the dealer. And since Tesla is in USA, it will be hard as well for bringing down another car immediately. Therefore, this can be a major risk. Safety standards, can we complete it? Yes. The safety standards needs to be mentioned to the customers. And they need to be educated with regards to electric shocks that can happen. Therefore, in case of any injury, it can be another problem. Therefore, terms and conditions needs to be stabilized. Loss-making business decision. Finally, in case with all the above risks, there are chances the sales may be less due to early stage in development of electric cars in villain. Meaning, the users may not prefer since mileage and the charging ports are less. This can be a major factor to be considered. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with this? Now, I did this. So in the exam, I can take this out. This headings, I can delete it. You understand what I'm saying, no, student? Look at the way the technique what I'm using, so that you will find it very easy and attract the examiner also. I wrote it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just to keep in myself, and I'm formatting this. So currently, that is a good. Then I'm going to write down here secondly. Look at the structure. Here I'm going to mention what, students? Thirdly. Here I'm going to write down fourthly. This is one style, students, the examiner's preferred style. You can check the answer. Here I can say additionally or fifthly. And finally, the answer. Do you see how the writing style has become very clear and legible, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from y'all in the chat box? Can I quickly get a confirmation from y'all in the chat box if you are fine with that? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, students. This is how you have to write your answers in the examination. And today it's just a warm-up day. I'm not giving you much work. I just make sure that you are clear with the thinking. And the key insights is thinking. So can I write down here? Key insights. The mistakes, we are human beings. We make mistakes. We have to improve from that. That's the differentiation. The key insights, if I'm not mistaken, can I effectively say this one? Thinking with the question. Now, Sridevi, not a criticism, learning. Thinking with what? The question. That's a wrong approach. You understood what I'm saying, no, Sridevi. That means you're going with the flow. Don't do that. Don't write a yes, yes answer for everything. Never. Think and write. That is one thing. So I'll write down here, going with the flow of the question.
Okay, sir.
And I'll just mention always saying yes for every proposal. I think Douglas may have an idea of what is this. This is one key insight, what we learned. The second key insight, what we learned is technical terms you have to improve. Now, if you observe technical terms, when I asked you all, there was something called OEM. That means original, what, students? Original equipment, what, students? Manufacturer. Can you remember that, students, if I'm not mistaken? That you have to remember. Very, very important. And then, students, 30 brands. It was one thing that you have to remember. And then common sense. Now, common sense here, it comes with demand, pull, and what, students? Demand, push. Demand, pull, and demand, push. And then features of the system. Features of the system. Example, I think Firdaus told about mileage. Now, mileage is a very good point because it's relevant to that. And the last thing is relevant to the question. Relevant to the question. That means when you go to the exam day, your mind should be very much controlled to the situation. Students, if you are fine with all these things, can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box? Students, if you are fine with all these things, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? Now I will come to one-to-one session. I'll start from Sridevi. Sridevi, any questions for the day?
No, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Douglas, any questions for the day? Mr. Kin, any questions for the day?
No, sir.
Mr. Farhan, any questions for the day? Mr. Ferdos, any questions for the day? Mr.
No,
Saeed, any questions for the day? Mr. Utum, any questions for the day? Thank you. Thank you. Students, good luck with your learning. Just remember the fundamentals. Thank you very much. I will meet you on our Saturday class. And from Saturday onwards, you will be getting question practice. So just allocate 1 hour time in your 24 hours a day, specifically for doing questions, whatever I give, because practice makes you perfect. That's it. Thank you, students. Good night, everyone. Take care.